Good day, my name is Bluesuit and today I'll be going over my review of the first-person steampunk RPG puzzle-solving adventure game that is Vaporum Lockdown. In Vaporum Lockdown, you play as Ellie Teller, a bright-eyed researcher who followed in her father's scientific footsteps to live and study in Arx, a giant mysterious tower in the middle of the ocean. In your research, your team uncovers an incredible substance called fumium and immediately begins trying to find its most immoral applications. What starts off as useful technology such as teleportation and medicine quickly turns into human testing on unwilling subjects. The entire research colony uses fumium for everything. The lights are powered by fumium, the plants and food are grown with fumium-enriched soil, and even the robots that work in the tower are programmed and powered by it. Right when Vaporum Lockdown begins, the tower has just descended into chaos, and monsters and machines are tearing the denizens of Arx apart. By the time you get out of the tower's lowest levels, everyone is dead, and it's up to you to secure what you need to escape while unraveling the story of the callous lust for power that resulted in the massacre of your friends and coworkers. I really enjoyed the story here. It's not particularly well voice acted, especially the main character, but the world and lore are very well realized. The locations are all gorgeous, and I actually found myself reading every single codex entry and listening to every single audio log that I could find. The gameplay in Vaporum Lockdown takes heavy inspiration from games like Legend of Grimrock and Eye of the Beholder. It's an old school tile-based dungeon crawler at heart, but modernized enough that players won't feel as confined as they do in other titles of the genre. The tile-based movement is surprisingly smooth, and it allows for some very clever puzzles which are a huge part of this game. Vaporum Lockdown follows a very consistent set of rules, but still finds a way to make some of these puzzles super challenging. So when you're stuck, it doesn't feel unfair, and when you finally figure it out, it is deeply satisfying. I was stuck on one particular puzzle for 4 hours. I just kept wandering the same halls over and over again, wondering where I went wrong. Finally, I realized that I forgot that you can toss bricks to activate wooden floor panels. I mean, I felt dumb, but not cheated. Vaporum Lockdown is very evenly split between puzzles and the combat, and both are equally unique to the series. Combat, which can be paused at any time, takes place like a dance between chess pieces. It is technically possible to never be hit as long as you attack and quickly move away to a safe tile before your enemy has a chance to attack. Most enemies, however, will require different strategies depending on their abilities. Big, heavy robots might require kiting with guns and gadgets, while weaker ranged enemies might require a more direct approach. In my playthrough, I went for a full tank, so I generally just stood there and took the hits and reflected tons of damage. Actually, with my character's build, about 70% of my overall damage output came from reflecting damage back at enemies. And this leads me to my favorite thing about Vaporum Lockdown, the character building. Shortly into the game's intro, you're able to choose from 4 exosuits that set the foundation for your build. There's the tank, focused on staying alive as long as possible, the mage, who focuses on using gadgets better and with more efficiency, the warrior, who focuses more on melee and ranged physical damage, and the berserker, who deals more damage to lower its HP. It, as well as all skill choices, are a big decision because there isn't any respecking in Vaporum Lockdown. From there, most players will immediately open up the skill menu and start theory crafting some builds. There are a lot of different skill trees, but each one only has 5 minor and 3 major passive abilities. It sounds like more than it is, as the minor passives are just the same upgrades over and over again, and you can only get 2 out of the 3 major passives in each tree. It's still a lot of abilities, and each level up is a noticeable improvement, but I do wish there was more experience to be had, as I could never get all the abilities that I wanted in a single playthrough. The one major downside of Vaporum Lockdown is that it's an incredibly linear title in several aspects. For one, the gear progression isn't randomized at all. There's no getting lucky and finding a better piece of gear. You either discover where it's hidden or you just never find it. The puzzles follow the same suit. Each one has one solution only, and only one way to get there. And finally, the story. In order to secure your escape, you'll need several items to repair the submarine, as well as food to survive the journey across the ocean. Instead of allowing the player to go forth and solve these problems in an order of their choosing, you will always do them in the same order. It's unfortunate because it's fun to try out different builds in other playthroughs, but you'll have to slog through the same story in the same order as before. Right now, you can pick up Vaporum Lockdown on Steam for $18, and even though it is a linear title, it completely blows that price tag out of the water, and I'm actually pretty surprised that they priced it so low. With a roughly 15-hour campaign, great graphics with beautiful locations, thoughtfully built RPG mechanics, and a decent amount of replayability, I'm valuing Vaporum Lockdown at $24, and I would recommend it to fans of first-person RPGs who are interested in jumping into a modern take of an old-school genre. I hope you enjoyed this review of Vaporum Lockdown. Come see me on Twitch where you can watch our reviews in progress 5 nights a week. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you thought about it. Until next time, peace!